Hey guys, what's up? Christine, since I see you here in the chat, can you please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? We're just waiting for the town hall to start here, or if anybody can give me a thumbs up. The rest of the TITM crew is going to be coming in here soon. So just let me know that you can hear me. I have the stream actually muted right now. We have Julius coming in. So just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute it.
Not her. That's the dynamic that he deliberately sets up. He answers to them, not to Harry Forum, Caitlin Collins. Caitlin Collins?
Caitlin, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got quite a crowd. Thank you. President Trump, thank you for your time here tonight. We got a great crowd here in New Hampshire, a lot of voters with a lot of questions about what your 2024 term would look like. What
More
another
the same.
Trump term would look like. We'll get to the voters shortly. But
I killed it
your
before.
polls show that you were dominating the Republican race right now, but you were also under active federal investigation for trying to overturn the 2020 election results. Your first term ended in the deadly riot at the Capitol, and you still have not publicly acknowledged the 2020 election results. Oh, no. Why should Americans put you back in the White House?
Because we did fantastically. We got 12 million more votes than we had in, as you know, in 2016. I actually say we did far better in that election. Got the most that anybody's ever gotten as a sitting president of the United States.
Hey, Liddell.
I think that
hey, what's up? What's up?
That result, and when you look at what happened during that election, unless you're a very stupid person, you see what happens. A lot of the people.
Is that counted as an insult? That's insulting the host.
No,
wait, that's insulting the host. That's drink the whole thing.
Most people
finish your drink.
understand what happened.
I can't do that yet.
Election.
5 minutes in.
It's a shame that we had to go through it. It's very bad for our country. All over the world, they looked at it. And they saw exactly what everyone else saw. You look, even if you just look recently with the 51 intelligence agents, that made a 16-point difference. If you look at the FBI, if you look at the FBI and
he paused for a second, then decided, no, I'm not going to.
Difference if you look at
Mr. President, back to what you just said there, though. It was not a rigged election. It was not a
We're
stolen
watching this
election.
on Stephen Crowder's Rumble, guys.
Lost more than 60 court cases on the election. It's been nearly 2.5 years. Can you publicly acknowledge that you did lose the 2020 election?
Let me just go on. If you look at True the Vote, they found millions of votes on camera, on government cameras, where they were stuffing ballot boxes. So with all of that, I think it's a shame that what happened.
Talking about
this thing for our country. I think it's a very sad thing, frankly, for the world, because if you look at what's gone to our country has gone to hell. Our borders are bad. Our military has been bad. You look at the taxes, you look at inflation, what's happened to inflation. It's just destroying our country.
It's really inflated.
We've really become, in many ways, a third world country. And it's very sad what's happening in this administration.
Strong start for
him. Something that will turn around on day one. We were energy independent. Now energy is at a level that we've never had to pay before. Nobody can afford to continue to pay what's happening with energy.
No, he's not.
Were energy independent.
He's coming out. He's setting the pace right now where he's listing his accomplishments. That contrast is really valuable. And that way, he can't allow her to just tilt it. Right away, she tried to go, oh, election. And he didn't. Okay.
Policy tonight, but what you just said there, Republican officials debunked those claims about fraudulent ballots. We want to give you a chance tonight.
Who?
Republican officials in Georgia and every single state. There is no your own election officials, Mr. President. So we wanted to give you a chance.
People were afraid to take on the issue. But we have a big problem in this country. We
wanted to give you a chance to acknowledge
we have elections
the results
that were horrible.
If Ron DeSantis doesn't take on election integrity, he has not a chance. Calling it right now. This is what people want. People may try and gaslight you in the media to act as though you're crazy, so that you think you're crazy. The Republican Party certainly doesn't. By the way, there are a lot of Americans. It was a majority, I believe, of Americans. It was certainly this very large number of plurality who didn't believe, we can probably bring that in from the control room, who didn't believe that it was the most free and fair election ever. Again, it depends on how you frame the question. But no one thought it was the best election that we've had in our history. That's what the media says. Let's go back to Harry Forum Lady.
About the claims that you're making tonight from voters on this topic, I want to bring in Scott Dustin from Concord. He works in insurance litigation.
Wow.
He's an undeclared voter. That's what they call
gross!
Scott, what's your question for the president?
Hi, President Trump. Welcome back to New Hampshire.
Thank you.
Will you suspend polarizing talk of election fraud during your run for president?
Will I suspend? Excuse me. What?
Will you suspend polarizing talk of election fraud?
Yeah, that's a
during
typical
your run
Republican.
for president.
Yeah,
All
unless
I
see
talk to
election
Republicans, by the way, conservatives every day. Never once would I expect to hear them say, "Will you suspend polarizing election talk?"
Right, exactly.
By the way, it's also January 6th, so drink.
We have our first fact check, actually, if we can get a fact check really quickly here.
Fact check.
So, 50 of those 60 cases were dismissed before being heard, not lost.
Exactly.
And that's what Caitlin said. You lost 60 cases, 50, that was great. Good job, research team.
Yep.
50 thrown out, or not even going to trial, not even being heard, just dismissed.
They didn't even go through the trouble of changing a statute of limitations and changing the law so they could extend it.
That takes planning.
With sexual battery. By the way, I do believe he commits sexual battery, this guy, because he keeps going and going and go. Let's go to the next. Oh, they're going to a break.
Sounds like he.
Oh, no, they're not. Never mind. Just a fake aerial shot for no reason.
Hey,
I guess he had a good answer.
It's called a crane shot.
Constitution. Yeah. Do you stand by those comments?
No. You were able to do certain things. I'm not talking about terminating the Constitution. I'm talking about cherishing the Constitution. The Constitution says that we're supposed to have legal and well-maintained and well-looked-at elections, and we didn't have that. I cherish our Constitution, but we have to live up to the Constitution. We're not living up to the Constitution.
I was just saying there's no evidence of that election fraud. You did once tweet.
You're supposed to say that, but I'm glad you said that.
Thug life moment, drink.
That was a horrible election, and unless somebody's very stupid, and I know you very well, you're not stupid at all, but you perhaps are given an agenda or you have an agenda. Look, we have to have honest elections in our country. We have open borders. We have... You look at what's happening. I mean, we have
that white guy in the vest looked pissed.
Take it to her.
Millions and millions of people are coming here. They're being released from prisons. They're being released from mental institutions. And we have millions of people pouring into our country. And now they're getting rid of Title 42, which I put on, which kept people out that were sick. And
Mr. President, we have a lot of questions about immigration to get to tonight. Obviously, that's a big topic, especially given what's expected to happen tomorrow. But I want to talk about the influence you have over your voters. It's very clear that you are very influential over them. You have a lot of impact. I've been to many of your rallies and seen it up close, which raised a lot of questions about the influence that we saw that you had on them on January 6th and your support
Drink
of the
January
attack to the
6th,
Capitol.
please. Boy, we're too good. By the way, bring back more drinking game rules.
I need more.
Brian needs more red wine.
You know, January 6th was, again, we go back to it, but January 6th had to do with the fact that hundreds
That's all counted
of
under one, right?
No, got to drink again. Send in our new intern because of Title 42. He can
January
refill us.
6th, it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. That was prior to the walk down to the Capitol building. I don't think, and I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of people. I've never spoken to a crowd as large as this. And that was because they thought the election was rigged. And they were there proud. They were there with love in their heart. That was an unbelievable, and it was a beautiful day. And what I was asked to do, I wasn't involved in it very much. I was asked to come in, would I make a speech? I made a speech. I said, walk peacefully and patriotically, you know, many different things. In fact, I brought a list of things. I don't want to bore the audience.
You never
we
hear
can
that.
go sentence after sentence after sentence of things I said and things I put out. One of the big problems was that Nancy Pelosi...
Calling it now, the media's going to say he called January 6th a beautiful day.
Yeah.
They're going to start playing Bono.
And the
Crazy
mayor of
Nancy
Washington
Pelosi.
were in charge, as
Drink.
you know,
Yeah.
of security.
Really quickly, so
They're
in
not
total,
doing that.
3/4 of voters said that they think some fraud occurred, right? This poll was conducted shortly after the election, and it's a YouGov.com poll. 3/4 of them. So I'm just saying, and only
3/4 thought that there was some chicanery afoot.
Is it fair to say that we haven't seen conclusive evidence that that's the case?
No.
It's not fair.
Well, it's not.
Can we
fair.
hear him
There's
talk?
empty lots where people voted. And
You guys, we're working on a different stream without Crowder. So just give us a second. We just want to not miss anything. So as soon as we have another stream up, Suni just joined, so she's going to pull up another stream that we got sent.
And
He
you
did
weren't-
not say that.
He has testified that,
He
Mr.
did
President.
not say that.
But you said you weren't very involved that day. You did tell your supporters to come to Washington. You tweeted about it, about
Sure,
that
of
speech
course.
that happened on the rally.
Am I
So
allowed
when
to
they,
say that?
When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
I don't believe it did. Oh, let me pull it out. I have to pull it out.
Wow. Okay.
So if you look at on January 5th, the day before. I said, please support our
Suni,
Capitol
do you
Police
have
and
that
law
stream pulled up
enforcement.
that
They are
Christine
truly
sent
on
us?
the side of our country. Stay peaceful. Stay peaceful. This was the day before, and this was in the form of Twitter. Now use Truth Social. I think it's far superior. Okay. I hope everybody's on Truth. If you look, January 6th, just at before 2:30. I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. This is right after, as it was happening. But what happened is they took it down. I don't know why. I think they took it down because it was so good. They didn't like it being up there. I am asking, and we didn't know until I got it back, because now I have 90 million people waiting for me to go back, but I'm on Truth and I'm staying on Truth. Listen, I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violation. We want no violation. We want no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men. Thank you. That was at 2:30. That was very early.
Mr. President, I looked at the same timeline that you did.
No, I know, but you didn't report that. You know why? Because it was
we
taken
did report
down.
it. I was reporting that
It was taken down and it wasn't.
But when it was clear to you that they were not being peaceful, you saw them rushing the Capitol,
How
breaking
does
windows,
any
they
of
were hitting
this
officers with
solve
flagpoles,
our problems?
tasing
Talking
them,
about this.
beating them up. When it was clear they weren't being peaceful, why did you wait 3 hours to tell them to leave the Capitol? They listen to you like no one else. You know that.
They do. I agree with that. But
So why didn't you tell them to go home sooner?
Nancy Pelosi and the mayor are in charge. I assume they were able to do their job. They weren't.
But Pelosi's not in charge of Capitol
And if you remember,
security.
I made a video.
Yes, she is.
Yes,
right
she
outside
is.
the Oval Office in
She's
the Rose
live.
Garden.
Yes, she is.
And I'm very proud of that video. I didn't have a script. I don't need scripts like a certain person that's in there right now.
The video? It came out much later.
I'm sorry.
They had already attacked the Capitol.
That was funny. I'm sorry.
It was a great video. And it was a beautiful video. And it said, I mean, I don't want to read it all, but you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people of law and order. We love the people of law and order. We can't play into the hands of these other people. We have to have peace. Please go home. I've said that.
Referring
You know
to
what
the law
they
and
did?
order there,
They took
Mr.
that
President.
down, and to this day, it hasn't been put up. And the reason is it's so good and so conclusive that all of this nonsense and all of the tens of millions of dollars that have been spent are just wiped away with this one. And they've never put it back up. They had another one that they did the same
But that
thing.
video that you referenced there, it wasn't posted until 4:17 p.m.
No, I'll tell
they
you,
breached the Capitol at 2 p.m.
That video was
Mr. President.
posted.
4:17
Yeah,
p.m.
actually a little bit before that.
Right. So that's my question.
excuse
Because
me.
in that 3 hours, over 140
It was
officers
posted
were
after the
injured.
first one I just read, though, and that was at 2 o'clock.
But I think the reason the timeline is so critical here, because going back to your influence, in
Here's
that
another
3
one I
hours,
posted.
over 140 officers were injured that day.
And a person named Ashley Babbitt was killed.
Yes.
You know what? She was killed, and she shouldn't have been killed. And that thug that killed her, there was no reason to shoot her. At blank range, cold blank range, they shot her. And she was a good person. She was a patriot.
One
There was
person
no
who was
reason.
there-
There was no reason. And he went on television to brag about the fact that he killed her.
The officer was not bragging about the fact that he
Oh,
killed
he
her.
was
But one
bragging.
person who was at the
He was
Capitol
bragging.
that day, as you know, was your vice president, Mike Pence, who says that you endangered his life on that day.
I don't
Do
think
you
he was in
feel-
any danger.
Mr. President, do you feel that you owe him an apology?
No, because he did something
CNN,
wrong.
of
He
course,
should have
put
put
on
the
the
votes
worst
back to
town
the
hall
state
known to man.
legislatures, and I think we would have had a
This is
different
straight
outcome.
trash,
did.
man.
But he doesn't have the authority to do that, as you know.
What?
This is
The
trash.
vice president does not have the
But who
authority to
organized this
reject
town
the
hall?
votes
Did
of
they
the
do it,
legislature.
or did Trump organize it and host it at CNN?
I like Mike Pence very
believe
much. He's a very
CNN
fine
asked
man.
him
He's a
to
very
come,
nice
and
man. He made a
he
mistake. His
okayed
lawyer
it
said,
to come
you
on CNN.
cannot move. I called him the human conveyor belt. I said, even if the votes, I talked to his lawyer, even if the votes are absolutely fraudulent, he can't say, yes, sir, he can't send back. And the Democrats played it, and the rhinos played it. And then the election was over. They told him he couldn't do it. And Mike said to me, I can't do it. The lawyers told me he can't do it. They can't do it. But the lawyers were wrong, because right after the election, they all met, the rhinos and the Democrats, and they worked out a plan to make sure that future vice presidents don't do what I said you could do.
That's not what happened. You're referring to the Electoral Count Act. I've read that. There is no authority.
No,
legal experts, including Republican legal experts, say that he does not have that authority, Mr. President. But I want to
why
move
did
on.
they change the law then, saying that you can't do it?
They didn't change the law. They strengthened the law because they were worried about presidents exploiting.
Meaning you could do it.
That's not what it means.
Thank you.
Yes, it does.
They strengthened the law because they were
He's right now. He's killing it right now. He's killing it right now.
Convinced him he didn't, and it was a horrible thing for our country. If you would have sent those votes back to Georgia, Pennsylvania, and other states, Wisconsin, which if you look at Wisconsin, they virtually admitted now that the election was rigged. If you would have sent those votes back to many of those states, they would not come back in the affirmative. And remember what I said, and you just said it pretty much. You admitted what I said was right. They said he didn't have the right to do it, and he did have the right to do it, and that's why they changed the law, taking that right away.
How does any of this solve any of these dreadful problems?
President Biden by the
Let me
end of it.
get
But I
to
want
the
to move on to Wayne
solutions.
Byer. He's a retired attorney from
By the
North
way,
Conway.
so many illegal votes were cast in Wisconsin. And if you look in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they had so many illegal votes, they didn't even know what to do with them. You're absolutely wrong.
Mr. President, there weren't any fraudulent votes in Wisconsin. I do want to get to the audience, though. We have questions for you from the audience. Wayne Byer is a retired attorney from North Conway. He has previously served in Republican administrations. He volunteered for the Republican Party in the 2022 midterms. He voted for you in 2020. What's your question for the president, Wayne?
Thank you for coming, Mr. President.
Thank you, Wayne.
My question to you is, will you pardon the January 6 rioters who were convicted of federal offenses?
Good question.
I am inclined to pardon many of them. I can't say for every single one because a couple of them probably they got out of control. But, you know, when you look at Antifa, what they've done to Portland, and if you look at Antifa, look at what they've done to Minneapolis and so many other places. Look at what they did to Seattle and BLM. Many people were killed. These people, I'm not trying to justify anything, but you have two standards of justice in this country. And what they've done, and I love that question, because what they've done to so many people is nothing. And then what they've done to these people, they've persecuted these people. And yeah, my answer is I am most likely, if I get in, I will most likely, I would say it will be a large portion of them. You know, they did a very, and it'll be very early on. And they're living in hell right now.
So when it comes
they're
to
living
pardons,
in hell. And they're policemen, and they're firemen, and they're soldiers, and they're carpenters and electricians, and they're great people. Many of them
What
are
this
just
got
great
to
people.
do
Mr.
with
President,
any
one of the
problems?
people who was convicted was a former policeman. He was convicted of attacking a police officer, I should note. But when you said you are considering pardoning a large portion of those charged with crimes on January 6th, does that include the 4 Proud Boys members who were charged and convicted of seditious conspiracy?
I don't know. I'd have to look at their case, but I will say in Washington, D.C., you cannot get a fair trial. You cannot. Just like in New York City, you can't get a fair trial either.
I can agree with him on that one a little bit.
Speaking of New York, I want to ask you about a significant verdict that was reached yesterday. I know this is something you want to weigh in on as well.
Did they really
Manhattan
put up
jury
Bud Light?
found that you sexually abused the writer E. Jean Carroll and defamed her. You've denied this. But what do you say to voters who say it disqualifies you from being president?
Well, there aren't too many of them because my poll numbers just came out. They went up. Okay.
I got to give it to him. Real talk. He's been really cool, calm. I got to give it to him a little bit.
Usually you leave office, you say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to back home. I'm back home to my family and everything. I'm going to be resigned. My poll numbers went up, and they went up with the other fake charge, too. Because what's happening is they're doing this for election interference. This woman, I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is. I had a picture taken years ago with her and her husband, nice guy, John Johnson. He was a newscaster, very nice man. She called him an ape, happens to be African-American, called him an ape. The judge wouldn't allow us to put that in. Her dog or her cat was named Vagina. The judge wouldn't allow to put that in. All of these things, but with her, they can put in anything. Access,
this
Hollywood.
This was a jury of 9 people who found you liable of sexual abuse. Do you think that will deter women from voting for you?
No, I don't think so, because I think the whole thing, just so you understand, ready? I Never met this woman. I never saw this woman. This woman said, I met her at the front door of Bergdorf Goodman, which I rarely go into other than for a couple of charities. I met her in the front door. She was about 60 years old then. This is like 22, 23 years ago. I met her in the front door of Bergdorf Goodman. I was immediately attracted to her. She was immediately attracted to me. And we had this great chemistry. We're walking into a crowded department store. We had this great chemistry, and a few minutes later, we end up in a room, a dressing room of Bergdorf Goodman, right near the cash register. And then she found out there were locks on the door. So she said, I found one that was open. She found one. She learned this at trial. She found one that was open. What kind of a woman meets somebody and brings them up, and within minutes, you're playing hanky-panky in a dressing room, okay? I don't know if she was married then or not. John Johnson, I feel sorry for you, John Johnson.
Mr. President, can I
think of it.
I know you're recounting what she said, but Mr.
I ain't like to. He kind of funny.
If I could, because you asked the question.
This was a
just so
jury,
you understand,
though.
if I was walking in at the because I was very famous then, and I owned the Plaza Hotel right next door, and I owned buildings around it, I'm not going into a dressing room of a crowded department store. Then I say, if she was being raped, and by the way, they said she wasn't raped. Okay, that was her charge. It wasn't.
They found that you sexually abused her.
What? Say what? They did. They said he didn't rape her. And
They did
I
not
didn't
say
do
that you
anything else either. You know what? Because I have no idea who the hell she is.
But Mr.
I
President,
don't know who this woman
can I
is.
ask you, given your recounting
I
your
don't know
version?
who, and I tell you this.
But Mr.
Are
President,
you ready?
can I
And I
can
swear
ask
on
you
my
because-
children, which I'd never do. I have no idea who this woman. This is a fake story, made up story. We had a horrible Clinton-appointed judge. He was horrible. He allowed her to put everything in. He allowed us to put nothing in.
Mr. President,
this is a
you're
fake
recounting your version of
story.
events here right now to the audience. You referenced the trial. You did not go to the trial and actually
That's right.
testify. Do you wish that you had
No,
testified?
it wouldn't have made a difference. This was a rigged deal. This was my lawyer
right.
said, sir, you don't have to do it. I actually said, I think I should. It would be respectful. They said, sir, don't do it. This is a fake story, and you don't want to give it credibility.
One
That's
thing
why
you-
I didn't go.
One thing you did do in this.
Okay.
And I swear, and I've never done that. And I swear to, I have no idea who the hell. She's a
Mr.
whack
President,
job.
you did not testify in person
sorry.
in this trial.
This
There
guy.
was a taped deposition of you from October.
That was
and
pretty funny.
You defended the comments that you made on that Access Hollywood tape about being able to grab women how you want. Do you stand by those comments?
I said, if you're famous and rich or whatever I said, but I said, if you're a star, you are, and I said, women let you. I didn't say you grab. I said, women let. You know, you didn't use that word, but if you look, women let you. Now, they said, will you take that back? I said, look, for a million years, this is the way it's been. I want to be honest. This is the way it's been. I can take it back if you'd like to, but if you're a famous person, if you're a star, and I'm not referring to myself, I'm saying people that are famous, people that are
You were asked
stars,
in the deposition,
people
do you
that are
consider
rich,
yourself to be a star?
people
And you
that are
said yes.
powerful, they tend to do pretty well in a lot of different ways, okay? And you would like me to take that back? I can't take it back because it happens to be true. I said it's been true for 1 million years, approximately a million years, perhaps a little bit longer than that.
So you stand by those comments?
Well, I don't want to lie.
Mr. President, we have a lot of
here's what
questions.
she wants
Mr.
me to say.
President, let's
A
get to
rich
the
and
audience
famous
questions
person
tonight.
has no advantage over anyone else. Well, you do have an advantage. And I say unfortunately, but that's the way it is.
You said fortunately or unfortunately,
Well,
but Mr.
fortunately or
President, we have a lot of
unfortunately for
audience
her.
questions to get to tonight. I want to go back to the audience. We've got Danielle Rieger. She works as an oral surgery assistant. She's a Republican activist from Derry. She was a New Hampshire delegate for you in 2020. What's your question?
Hi, thank you so much for coming to New Hampshire
Thank
to
you.
answer our questions. My question is regarding the economy. Over the past 2 years, we
Thank
have
you.
seen the prices for everything skyrocket. From food to gas to utilities and insurance costs, many people's bills are up several $100s a month, including mine. If elected president again, what is the first thing you would do to help bring down the cost to make things more affordable?
Drill, baby, drill. You know what that is. So, we were energy independent. We were soon going to be energy dominant. And nobody had ever done what I did. We got oil down to $1.87. Actually, it fell lower than that in some cases. We had to save the oil companies. The price was getting so. We were doing incredibly. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country, probably the greatest economy in the history of the world. We're energy independent, soon to be energy dominant. We were going to be bigger than Russia and Saudi Arabia put together ×2. We have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation. And these stupid fools ended it. And energy went from $1.87 and even lower for gasoline, for a car, went from $1.87 to $5, $6, $7, $8, and even $9. And your electricity bills went through the roof, your heating bills went through the roof. And that's what started inflation. And it hasn't stopped because people are paying now for bacon and for eggs and for the 2 and 3 times what it was just a little while ago. We created the greatest economy in history. A big part of that economy was got you the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, bigger than the Reagan cuts, bigger than anything. And also, Caitlin,
I have so much to say too.
Regulation and regulatory cuts. This place was rocking, and then we were given a gift from China, and China paid a big price. And let me tell you something, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes from China, but prior to COVID coming in, and then I rebuilt the economy again, a second time. But we had prior to COVID coming in as from China, from Wuhan, which I said it came from Wuhan. Everybody said, oh, you're wrong about that. You're wrong. It came from Wuhan. I said it right from day one. So we had the greatest economy in the world. Here's the story. They made energy so high, and energy is all invasive. It is massive as an industry and as a cost. It lifted everything. If you made donuts, no matter what you did, and we had inflation, the likes of which I guess we haven't had, as I said, for 52 years, but I think more than that. We had no inflation. We had the lowest energy prices we've had in decades. This country was rocking and rolling. And by the way, we had the most secure border in the history of our country.
Mr. President, we have more questions on the economy. I want to make sure we get to all of those. As you know, the U.S. right now could be...
She is the worst moderator.
She's horrid.
From defaulting on its debt. That could mean millions of jobs lost, people not getting their Social Security payments. People believe it would put the U.S. economy into a recession. On that topic, I want to bring in Marta Cervella, a student here at St. Anselm. She is an undeclared voter who did not vote in 2020. Marta, what's your question?
Hi, Mr. President.
Hi,
so my question is, what do you think about the United States' current debt situation, and how can we move forward?
Thank you.
Such an important question. So we're at $33 trillion, a number that nobody ever thought possible. When we had our economy rocking and rolling just prior to COVID coming in, like literally, we were making a fortune. And oil, we were going to make so much money from oil, we were going to start paying off debt. But then with COVID coming in, we had to do other things. We had to keep this country alive. It was so serious. But we have to get the country back. We have to lower energy prices. We have to lower interest rates. Interest rates are through the roof. Energy has to come down. It all has to come down, and we have to start paying off debt. But when we have a debt limit, and they use that very seriously in me. They came in, Schumer came in with Nancy Pelosi, and they were using, we'll violate it, we'll do whatever. They talked a whole lot different than they do right now. I say to the Republicans out there, congressmen, senators, if they don't give you massive cuts, you're going to have to do a default. And I don't believe they're going to do a default because I think the Democrats will absolutely cave because you don't want to have that happen. But it's better than what we're doing right now because we're spending money like drunken sailors.
So just to be clear, Mr. President, you think the U.S. should default if the White House does not agree to spending cuts Republicans are demanding?
You might as well do it now because you'll do it later. Because we have to save this country. Our country is dying. Our country is being destroyed by stupid people, by very stupid people.
You had said that using the debt ceiling as a negotiating wedge just could not happen. You said that when you were in the Oval Office.
That's when I was president.
So why is it different now that you're out of office?
Because now I'm not president.
That's fired. Good Lord.
That was a good one.
Come on, old Trump.
The U.S. defaulting would be massively consequential for everyone in this room.
You don't know. It's psychological. It's really psychological more than anything else. And it could be very bad. It could be maybe nothing. Maybe you have a bad week or a bad day. But look, you have to cut your costs. We're spending $7 trillion on, much of it on nonsense. $7 trillion on nonsense.
We've got another
I actually
question from a voter tonight.
Get all of that money that was wasted, and frankly, the Senate should have never approved it. Get all that money that was wasted, and if they don't get rid of that, you'll have to default. Okay?
Mr. President, we've got another voter here tonight.
And by the way, you're going to default eventually anyway, but it's going to be much messier. I don't think you'll have to default. I think if the Republicans hold strong and they say let's say we want $5 trillion off, I really think the Democrats have no choice but to do it. And if I win, they're going to be doing the same thing to me in 2 years. I guarantee you that.
Mr. President,
they're going to play a
another
very
voter
hard
here
ball game,
tonight.
and they did that.
Why does it keep stopping?
I don't know why. I
Bobby
don't know
Petrino
why.
has been waiting very patiently.
Sure.
He's a student at St. Anselm. He's a member of College Republicans. He's an undeclared voter right now. He supported you in 2020. Bobby, what's your question for President Trump?
Hi, thank you for coming. This is a bit of a pivot, but with gun violence and mass shootings in the news cycle recently, I'm worried that state governments and the federal government are going to act to repress gun rights. Under your administration, you instructed the Department of Justice and the ATF to ban bump stocks. If elected president again, how would you act not only to defend our Second Amendment rights, but to restore rights that have been taken from us, such as, by example, recently the ATF's ruling on the pistol stabilizing braces?
Yeah, as you know, the bump stocks are actually a very unimportant thing. And NRA, I went with them and they said it doesn't mean anything. Or actually, all they do is teach you how to shoot very inaccurately. So we did that. There's been nobody that's protected the Second Amendment, as you know, like I have. I protected it through thick and thin, not easy to do. But we have a very big mental health problem in this country. And again, it's not the gun that pulls the trigger.
There we
it's the
go.
person that pulls the trigger. And we have
There
to
we
protect-
go.
Come on.
There
Trump.
we go.
Come on.
There we
I like
go.
that.
Dealt with a lot of
There
I feel like Family
we go.
Feud. Good answer. Good answer. Good
There have been
answer.
more than 200 mass shootings in 2023. If you are reelected, are there any new gun restrictions that you would sign into law?
I would do numerous things. For instance, schools, we would harden, very much harden. And I'm a very believer. I believe in teachers. I love teachers. I think they're incredible. And they love the children, not quite like the parents, but they love the children in many cases almost as much. Many of these teachers are soldiers, ex-policemen. They're people that really understand weapons. And you don't need 5% of the teachers would be more than you could ever have if you're going to hire security guards. But in addition to that, have security guards. You have to harden your entrances. You have to make schools safe. And you can make other places safe. But it is a big mental health problem in this country more than anything else. And remember, we have 700 million guns, 700 million. Many people, if they don't have a gun, they're not going to be very safe. I mean, if they don't have a gun, it gives them security. Now, you need them for entertainment. You need them for hunting. You need them for a lot of different things. But there are people that if they didn't have the privilege of having a gun in some form, many of them would not be alive today. You know, there's a certain country that had a very strict policy on guns, very, very strict.
Which country?
And, Brazil, okay? Brazil, very strict. And the former president of Brazil, and the killing was incredible. They were walking into people's homes and killing people. They had no protection. He said, go out and buy guns. People went out and bought guns, and it went way down. The numbers went way down because they had security. If you look at Chicago, Chicago has the single toughest gun policies in the nation. They are so tough you can't breathe. New York, too, and other places also. All of those places are the worst and most dangerous places. So that's not the answer.
No new restrictions that you would sign if reelected, Mr. President. I want you to meet Julie Miles, a registered nurse from Merrimack. She's a Republican who voted for you in 2020. Julie, what's your question for the president?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Appreciate you answering this question this evening. How do you plan to appeal to women voters in New Hampshire who are concerned about the Dobbs decision and how states may change their laws?
It's such a great question, and it was such a great victory, and people are starting to understand it now. You know that they wanted to bring it back to the states, but that was probably the least important part of that victory. Getting rid of Roe v. Wade was an incredible thing for pro-life because it gave pro-life something to negotiate with. Pro-life had absolutely nothing being stuck in Roe v. Wade to negotiate with. And now what's happening, and I see it all over, Deals are being made. Deals are going to be made. And look, everybody that was president wanted to get rid and tried to get rid of Roe v. Wade.
You mean
for 50
Republicans?
years. Republicans. For 50 years, this has been going on. Actually, a couple of Democrats too. But for 50 years, this has been going on. I was able to do it, and I was very honored to do it. But by doing it, things are happening that are very, very positive. And I happen to believe in the exceptions, the life of the mother, rape, incest, like Ronald Reagan believed in the exceptions. But I happen to believe that. I think
But I knew that from.
I think it's
before.
frankly important to do that, but a lot of people are, against that. A relatively small number. But the way I look, I think it's very important to say this. I consider the other side to be radical, because the other side, under Roe v. Wade and other things, the other side, they're radical because they will. Remember the debate with Hillary Clinton? They said, rip the baby out of the womb at the end of the 9th month. They will kill the baby in the 9th month. If you look at that crazy governor of Virginia from the former governor, where he said, no, the baby will be born, and then we'll decide essentially whether or not to execute the baby.
But Mr. President, can we talk about what you would do?
No, but these are the radical people. It's not the pro-life people that are radical.
But if you are reelected and you're back in the Oval Office and you get legislation to your desk, would you sign a federal abortion ban into law?
What I'll do is negotiate so that people are happy. But the fact that we were able, I'm so proud of it. We put 3 great justices on the Supreme Court. We have almost 300 federal judges on the Supreme Court.
He skirted around that question.
Just to be clear, Mr. President, you
That's always a tough one for politicians.
I said this. I want to do what's right. And we're looking, and we want to do what's right for everybody.
But what's right?
But now, for the first time, the people that are pro-life have negotiated
talk solutions, man.
Capability,
don't talk solutions.
because you didn't have it before. They could kill the baby in the 9th month or after the baby was born. Now they won't be able to do that.
But I think this is a really important question for you to answer, because this is something every Republican, including those who are running against you for the nomination, are being asked about: is would you sign a federal abortion ban into law?
And many of them
just
are
say
going to
no,
give you
Trump.
the same answer as I am. First of all, I am honored to have done what I did. And a lot of people said, in 150 years, he's now the most consequential president because he saved so many lives. And I'm honored to have done it.
Hey, Trump, it's like drugs. Just say no.
Because of what I've done, we now have a great negotiating ability. That's what I do in life.
So he's going to negotiate.
We have a great
there will be no
negotiating
federal
ability, and I think we're going to be able to get
What do you mean
something done.
negotiating ability? Because the question that Republicans have, and some of your allies on Capitol Hill say that they want to introduce legislation when it comes to banning abortion. If they send it to your desk, would you sign it?
Some people are at 6 weeks. Some people are at 3 weeks,
Where's
2
President
weeks.
Trump?
Come on, Trump.
Answer the question.
What he thinks is great for the country and what's fair for the country. But the fact that I was able to terminate Roe v. Wade after 50 years of trying. They worked for 50 years. I've never seen anything like it. They worked, and I was so honored to have done it. We are in a very good negotiating position right now, only because of what I was able to do. And remember this, again, you talk about radicalism. People that will kill a baby in the 9th month or the 8th month or the 7th month or this morning, they're the radicals, not the pro-life.
I just want to give you... I just want to give you one more chance, though, because you did not answer whether or not you'd sign a
She wants him to answer this question.
Or how many weeks into pregnancy you believe abortion should
all,
be
can we
banned.
kill babies?
Can you answer either
I've
of those
given you
tonight?
the answer probably 4 times already.
Which one is it, though?
I'm
You have an
looking at
answer?
a solution that's going to work. Very complex issue for the country. You have people on both sides of an issue, but we are now in a very strong position. Pro-life people are in a strong position to make a deal that's going to be good.
Make
and
a
going
deal.
To be
Murder's
satisfactory for them.
murder.
If you weren't able to get rid of, you wouldn't even be having a discussion. If you weren't able to get rid of Roe v. Wade, which put pro-life in a dead position, a horrible position, they could kill the baby at any time they wanted to, did something that nobody thought was doable. And other Republican presidents, and others, by the way, they wanted to get it out. They also wanted to bring it back to the states, but bringing it back to the states is a less important issue
But that's why
than
it's
the
the
issue
question
that we
about a
just talked
federal
about.
abortion ban. You did not say yes
Okay,
or no.
now-
You did
Depends
not
what,
say how
it
many
depends
weeks.
what the deal is. Lindsey Graham's
You did not say
a
how
good
many
man.
weeks.
He's got an idea, and a lot of other people have an
He did good until that point.
And
Everybody at CNN is like,
And a lot
yes,
of
we
people
got
are
him. We
curious
got
about
him.
your ideas
Yeah.
on that President Trump. We've got more questions to come for you tonight. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Okay, let's mute it so we can talk about this so far till it comes
I
back.
have to go with the hat.
Man.
It's very applicable. I think he's doing great.
Great. Okay. All right, John. Whatever, bro. He started off kind of strong a little bit. I gotta say this here is he is very mild mannered. He's not bombastic how he normally is. I think somebody has finally gotten to his edge. You look like a crazy maniac when you're doing all this all the time. Number two, he started off pretty strong. It was kind of funny and entertaining, which is classic Trump. Number three, the abortion question, straight L.
Yeah, and that's not a good question to take an L on. It'll be
L7.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does say on the vaccine question if anybody does ask him that. But I'm thinking now that these questions and these audience members were planted with their questions because.
Well, you already know what he's going to say about the vaccine. He's going to say, my vaccine saved lives. If it wasn't for me, 100 million. He's going to say all of that about the vaccine because he's going to try to make himself look good for the fact that he's going to say, I rushed it out in 9 months rather than 5 years. He got other problems. He's not going to mention the adverse reaction. He's not going to mention people dying suddenly. He's not going to mention any of that stuff. He's just going to talk about how he got it out. If it wasn't for him, it wouldn't have saved lives. He's going to say, get the vaccine. It's your choice. There's no mandate, but it's your choice. That's exactly what he's going to say. The abortion thing was also, I agree with Liddell, it was an L. If that was me, I would just say, no, we're not going to, I would say we're going to ban abortion, but we have solutions. We'll help women out in the case of rape or
exactly.
incest.
Right.
It's not that hard.
But
He did come out and say that he said that's a small issue. He already addressed it being left to the states, which is a very asinine remark.
Okay.
That's ridiculous. Why shouldn't it be left to the states? That's what our country was founded on. States make decisions, not the Fed.
Exactly. Yeah. She wanted to clickbait on him saying ban of some sort, but at the exact same time, it would have been simple. Why are we talking about something that's already been kicked down to the states? Like this has been settled already. Let's move on to solutions, please. That would have been my pivot. Solution. How is this going to solve people's problems? States issue, abortion. That's been dealt with. Solution. Let's move forward.
Right. Talk about the economy. Talk about the cost of living. How are you going to fix these things? What are you going to come in and do to remedy it? These are a lot of social issues that keep a lot of people stagnant and stuck because you're not thinking about the bigger picture here. Like, what are you going to do to stimulate the economy if and when you get back in office? That's what people are focused on.
That's with jobs too, because jobs you got McDonald's. I know it's fast food, but McDonald's and Burger King, about 400 stores has shut down. So that's not good. And the fact that there are illegals who are still getting jobs over the American people, that's not good. So in 2019 when Trump lowered the taxes, everybody was doing just fine. The American people were doing just fine. I wish Trump would kind of talk about that and how he would bring that back so folks could bring home more money so they can afford living.
Well, here's my thing. We those of us that voted for Trump the first time, we know that he can do it, right? But he needs to be speaking to those people that he wants to bring over to vote for him. The people that doubt, right, that he can fix it. So he needs to be appealing to those people in a way. And this is his chance to do it because a lot of those people are on the fence anyways and they're like, we're not doing Biden again. So he needs to think like that he's not speaking to, I don't think he shouldn't be speaking to the already a Trump voter. He should be speaking to that Trump voter he's trying to get. Like Sunni.
And me.
Oh, and Liddell.
And me.
Liddell.
But you know what though?
Liddell's about to vote for Bernie Sanders.
No.
We're going to be writing Jesus on the ballot. That's literally what it's coming to.
Jesus saves Christ. What they do with the moderator, they turn people off already by trying to remind them. So January 6th, January 6th. Did I tell you about January 6th? Remember, folks, January 6th. And they're like, yeah, he was a bad guy for that. And they're gonna think about all the chaos and totally forget about what they want from Trump, and now they're gonna be mad at him not in their emotions,
right,
versus thinking logically. So they have to kind of push that first, and then ask the
I
question.
gotta
shoot
admit,
first, ask later.
I gotta admit, on January the 6th, he actually handled it very well. I gotta give it
all
to
right,
him.
they're back.
Give it to him.
Yeah, I mean, facts on facts.
Facts on facts on facts.
Can't find people who don't like him.
Jennifer Simmons. She is a mom and former town selectman from Wyndham. She's a Republican and she voted for you in 2020. Jennifer, what's your question tonight?
Good evening, Mr. President. Title 42 is expected to expire tomorrow. Our southern border and now our northern border are experiencing record migration. We learned on May 2nd that the Biden administration plans on deploying 1,500 troops to the southern border.
Trash.
Do you agree with deploying troops to the border, and how will a Trump administration slow down the rate of migrants coming across all our borders?
Sure. A very fair question, especially since tomorrow is going to be a day of infamy. You're going to have tens of thousands of people pouring into our country. Even the judge, the judge overruled them when they wanted to terminate it early. And he said, that you better extend this thing. The judge in Texas said, I hope you're going to extend this, but this is my policy that they're letting terminate because they lost in court. They wanted to go earlier. You're going to have millions of people pouring into our country right now at a level that nobody's ever seen before.
He's right.
These people are sick. Anybody that wants this to happen to our country, they're destroying our country, and this should not be allowed to happen. How they're not going to do a version of Title 42 or my Title 42.
Okay, enough.
Which was
Tell us
tough.
how you're going to fix
If
it.
people are sick and have infectious diseases and lots of other problems, we don't want them being into our country. We have enough problems right now. We have problems like we've never had in the history of our country.
But Mr. President,
our country is being destroyed.
The reason it's ending is because the health policy, the COVID era pandemic emergency is coming to an end. That's what Title 42 was. You put it in place because of COVID.
True, but
when it comes to big questions about what your immigration policy would look like if you are reelected, some of your Republican rivals have criticized you for not fulfilling the promises that you made on the campaign trail, like finishing the border wall. So how did voters know that you would get those done if you're reelected?
I did finish the wall. I built a wall. I built hundreds of miles of wall, and I finished it. And then I said, we have to build some more because there are areas like water going through a dam. There are some areas where a lot of people are coming. You close up one, and they come into another. And we started another 100 miles of wall. In fact, I said to my people, if we start this and don't finish it, and then we had a rigged election. I'm sorry to say it.
Hey, shut up about the election, man.
You can't keep saying that all night long.
Bro. Shut up about that.
His points went down.
They decided not to finish it. It would have taken them 3 weeks. I built hundreds of miles of wall. If we didn't have it, it would be hard to believe it could be any worse. They're just letting people flow into our country. Look, a country has to have borders. There's never been anything like is happening to our country right now.
You built about 52 miles of new wall when you were in office, Mr. President. It wasn't the complete wall. One other thing that with
no, but I have to respond to that.
With your immigration, it was only about 52 miles of new wall.
This is what she does.
Oh, Lord.
I built hundreds of miles.
Lord.
Some of the wall was up there, and it would be laying on the ground, rusted rotten steel, rusted rotten wood, a little. And what the radical left crazy Democrats did, if there's a piece of wood laying down, they consider that a wall. I built 30-foot walls that go down 7 feet into the ground. If there was a little piece of wood sitting in the ground, they said, oh, he's not building a wall. We already had a wall. Because this is the game.
Why are you so busy trying to defend yourself?
Just
talk
it's
about
not a game, Mr. President.
I see what it's doing.
One other immigration
policy you had. Me too.
I built new walls.
It's frustrating because we want solutions.
CBP,
what I did is I replaced another wall that was laying down, that was up and rotting in the ground for 30 years. Some of it was steel that you couldn't use.
Mr. President, it was only about 52 miles of new wall. But moving on, another immigration policy you had was the zero tolerance immigration policy that separated families at the border. If you are reelected, are you ruling out instituting that?
Here we go.
But when you have that policy, people don't come. If the family hears that they're going to be separated,
exactly,
they love their family.
And acts as
they
a
don't
deterrent.
Come. So I know it sounds harsh, but if you remember they said I was building prisons for children. It turned out that it was Obama that was building the prisons for the children.
But would you re-implement that if you're reelected? Is that what you're saying?
We have to save our country, all right? We
so
can't
it sounds
afford,
like that's a yes.
When you say to a family, if you come, we're going to break you up, they don't come. And we can't afford to have any more. Look at New York City. Look what's happening. They're living in Central Park in New York City. The city is being swamped. Los Angeles is being swamped. Iowa is being swamped. Our whole country is being destroyed. Millions of people are coming into our country. And you know what the number is going to be, in my opinion, by the end of the year? Not the 4 million that you hear and the 3 million. I think it's going to be 15 million people. And in these people, they have no idea where they come from. They come from 129 different countries so far. 120, not just the 4 that we talked.
Just to put a button on that, it sounds like what you're saying is that you're not ruling out re-implementing that immigration policy. I want to get to another voter. Caitlin Boissonneau is a student
because he didn't answer it.
College.
She put the words
She's
in
a
his mouth. There you
Republican. This will
go.
be the first election that she has voted in. What's your question for the president?
Hello, President Trump.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
The current administration has made it clear that we should continue to provide military equipment to Ukraine so that they can defend themselves. Do you support this decision? And how would you deal with the increasing threat posed by Vladimir Putin?
First of all, thank you very much. It's really nice. And it's an important question, so important, because we're giving away so much equipment. We don't have ammunition for ourselves right now. We don't have ammunition for ourselves. We're giving away so much. But here's the thing. I have to say it to start off. No longer matters. If I were president, this would have never happened. And even the Democrats admit that. Putin knew it would have never happened. And his pipeline would have never happened. A lot of things would have never happened.
Can you answer the question?
But this would never have happened.
Say that,
And
Mr.
all those
President?
dead people, both Russian and Ukrainian, they wouldn't be dead today. And all those cities that are blown up and disintegrated right to the ground, that wouldn't have happened. Okay, now, here's the problem. We've given so far $171 billion. They've given, meaning European Union, which is approximately the same size altogether as our economy. They've given about 20. We're at 170, let's say, and they're at 20. You don't have to know too much about history to realize, or geography, to realize that they're a little bit more affected than we are, okay? So they've got to put up a lot more money because they're taking advantage of us like every other country did. That's why I ended NAFTA and replaced it with the USMCA, Mexico,
But on
Canada.
this issue, Mr. President, I should know, I don't know any Democrats who have said they don't believe Putin would have invaded if you were president. But her question is, would you continue to give Ukraine money and weapons if you're elected? What's the answer?
I have a very good relationship with President Zelensky because, as you know, he backed me up with the phony impeachment hoax #1 when he said,
"Nigga." Sometimes you want to start papers up like this and just walk away.
Yeah, that's right. And I was totally exonerated by. Like just a waste of time and money.
You were impeached over that.
You didn't answer the question.
I know, man. Come on, Trump. Yes or no, bro.
It's an important question, Trump.
Answer the question, bro.
Why do they keep pausing it? I'm about
Here
to
is, would you
next
give
them.
Ukraine weapons and funding if you were
I
elected?
would sit down. Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day,
Shouldn't ask
24
you that.
hours.
How would you settle?
24 hours?
How would you do it, Trump?
How do you do it?
I'll meet with Zelensky.
I'll tell you how after I explain how. I'll tell you
Both
how.
have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over.
Bruh. I'm sorry, guys.
It'll be absolutely
Do you
over.
want Ukraine
Why does it keep freezing?
to win this war?
Man.
All right, we need a new stream.
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled.
Why
So we stop killing all these people and
I don't know.
breaking down.
The only problem is all the other streams are going to have commentary, probably.
That's why it's hard to watch Crowder. So he just talks a lot through it.
Yeah. See, this is why I don't like Crowder, guys.
You said you don't.
Talks too much. No wonder his wife is going crazy.
Touche, Mo. Touche.
Watch it. Watch it. Watch it.
The only way we can fix this is discipline and respect.
Discipline and
That's right.
respect.
I'm telling you, we need to put all that stuff on a t-shirt.
It's
Is
probably
it
just
paused?
Rumble.
No.
It could just be Rumble, just loading.
I'm trying to put it on a lower the quality.
Like the lowest. I was gonna say, yeah.
Sorry, guys, we're trying to fix the stream. In the meantime,
we appreciate you guys being here. God bless you guys. Hit the like button. Do all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
How it's their stream.
Yeah, it is theirs. So here's what we can while they're trying to fix this. Let's actually add some real life commentary.
Follow up on that because that's a really important statement that you just made there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians.
Okay.
I want them to stop dying.
Definite answer.
That was a softball question. That was a softball question, though.
And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win. You
know what I'll say? I'll say this. I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and they should be. And they should equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize. I got with NATO.
But I'm
when I sat down, I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars that they weren't.
We already know what you've
and
done.
All of these
we
other
want to know what you're going to do.
That's why they're able to help them fight the war because of the money I got. But I
let's
want
talk about
Europe.
what's happening in Ukraine,
Excuse me.
Mr.
I want
President.
Europe to put up more money because they're laughing at us. They think we're a bunch of jerks. We're spending $170 billion for faraway land, and they're right next door to that land. And they're
when we hit the break, I'll get a new stream.
I don't think so.
When it comes to what's happening there, when you were in office, you said that you respected President Putin. Do you still respect him today?
He made a tremendous mistake. He's a smart guy, you know. I remember I said he was smart, she was smart. He said President Xi of China, right, is smart. Okay, 1.5 billion people. He's the ruler of 1.5 billion people. I said, yeah, he's a smart guy. How dare he say he's smart? Of course he's smart.
This is like Grandpa Trump right now.
They want you to say he's a stupid person.
I know.
Okay, he's not a stupid person. He's very smart. He's very cunning. And Putin made a bad mistake, in my opinion.
What was his mistake?
His mistake was going in. Would have never gone in if I was president. We used to talk about it there.
Do you believe that he is a war criminal?
He ain't losing me yet because I ain't got nowhere else to go, Tito. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Putin is a war criminal.
Jeez, man, go to a fucking commercial. This is killing me.
He's responsible for the deaths of thousands.
Is it CNN stream or is it their stream?
No.
Well, I think it's something that should not be discussed now. It should be discussed later because right now we have to get a war. If you say he's a war criminal, it's going to be a lot tougher to make a deal to get this thing stopped. Because if he's going to be a war criminal where people are going to go and grab him and execute him, he's going to fight a lot harder than he's fighting, you know, under the other circumstance. That's something to be discussed at a later date. Right now, we want to get that war settled. And I'm not talking about the money either. I'm talking about all the lives that are the number of people being killed in that war is far greater than you're hearing. When they blow up a city and those buildings come pouring down and then they say 2 people were injured. No. Hundreds and thousands of people are being killed. And we have to get that war settled.
We have more with former President Trump. Right after this, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back.
Good God.
Whew. That was rough.
Yeah, he went from strong to grandpa in 2 point however many seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Did we find Liddell sent a new stream, so we're gonna go to that one. Sorry, guys.
I just want to hear him have a solution, not just talk about his past.
But see, this is the problem, this is what Trump does. He does it at his rallies, and this is what has always turned me off, right? It was good when he first campaigned and we first heard him.
Oh, it's back. One second,
but
yeah. We can finish.
Okay, sorry.
Is sent to Chinatown, where they don't speak even English in that Chinatown we're talking about.
I got to stop
Nobody
you right
talks
there
about
because
him, they talk about us. Just so you understand, I had every right to do it. I didn't make a secret of it. You know, the boxes were stationed outside of the White House. People were taking pictures of the GSA and the various people.
I got to stop you right there, though, because the Presidential Records Act, which is not well known to a lot of people, I read it. It does not say that you can take documents with you. It says actually that they are the property of the federal government.
It says you talk, you negotiate, you make a deal. It's not criminal, by the way. The Presidential Records Act is not criminal. And just so you know,
it does not say you can negotiate to take the documents with you.
Why are they standing?
Just so you understand, the Presidential Records Act is not criminal. I took the.
Bruh.
That was it? It's about to end? That was it?
No, it's still going. It's still going.
See, it must be a problem with the original stream.
Boxes, and nobody even knows where they are. 1,800, and nobody talks about him.
Mr. President,
and they put a rough guy on us, and in the meantime, they have nobody.
I think it's important, Mr. President, to actually set the record straight here. They took documents, including President or Vice President.
Yeah, it's the CNN stream.
Yeah, I can't find it on YouTube.
Well, because it's not my stream, it's not our stream. I'm looking at the health of our streams, and it's not our streams.
Is the stream on the website?
That's the one with the Corvette, where the documents were laying all over the floor.
No, that's what I was telling you guys. It's not on their YouTube.
It happens to be at Mar-a-Lago? Secret Service, and they're phenomenal. I have Secret Service. He didn't have Secret Service. The other thing, the Vice President cannot declassify. He didn't have the right to declassify his documents from when he was a senator. And even Democrat senators say, I can't believe it. No, I went by the Presidential Records Act.
That's not
and
what
we
the
were
Presidential
negotiating
Records Act
with NARA.
says. That's not what it says,
And
Mr.
NARA has
President.
red flagged a thing called the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights because they consider them
Mr.
dangerous
President, that's
documents.
not what it
Those
says,
are the people we're dealing with.
I should note that there is a special counsel investigating your document situation, also President Biden's document situation. When it comes to your documents, did you ever show those classified documents to anyone?
He didn't have to.
I would have the right to. By the way, they would declassify.
Yeah, he would have the right.
Not that I can think of.
He is the executive branch.
I have the absolute right to do whatever I want with them. I have the right.
Yes.
I was negotiating with NARA. Do you know what NARA is?
The National Archives.
Extremely left group of people. Extremely left.
Yes, you do.
And I was negotiating with them.
Not
All of a sudden, they raided my house. They didn't raid the house of Joe Biden. They didn't raid Obama.
But Joe Biden didn't ignore a subpoena to get those documents back like
Joe
you
Biden
did. And so
took
that's the question.
1,850 boxes.
But that's the question that investigators have, I think, is why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
I would have dropped
this
her
chick.
by now.
This chick, zero respect.
Why you held on to the document?
I was negotiating, and we were talking to NARA, that's Washington, to bring whatever they want. They can have whatever they want. When we left Washington, we had the boxes lined up on the sidewalk outside for everybody. People are taking pictures of them. Everybody knew we were taking those boxes. And the GSA, the government service, the GSA was the one taking them. They brought them down to Mar-a-Lago. We were negotiating with NARA. All of a sudden, they raid our house. When Biden had his documents, he won't give back the 1,850 boxes. And you're going to find some real gems in there.
But it was Biden who alerted them that he had the documents. The National Archives reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over when you got a subpoena asking for you to turn them over?
We were negotiating with them.
He's answering the question.
As per the Presidential Records Act. We were negotiating with NARA.
That's not what the Presidential Records Act says.
But they got to learn the Constitution a little bit more, and they shouldn't red flag it, by the way. Very nice people. We were negotiating with NARA, and that's what the Presidential Records Act says, because Richard Nixon, surprisingly, had problems, and he had a lot of problems dealing with NARA, and they ended up passing legislation called the Presidential Records Act just for this kind of a thing. We were dealing with them. We were talking. Excuse me. Wait a minute. Wait. We were talking to them. We would have done it, but all of a sudden they raided the house. Now, why hasn't the FBI raided Biden?
But I just explained to you. It's alerted the government that they had those documents and had them come and get the documents from his house. My question for you, though, when it comes to documents, do you still have any classified documents in your possession?
You ready?
Do you?
No, I don't have anything.
He said, "Are you ready?"
You know what?
Documents. And by the way, they become automatically declassified when I took them. But
no,
why?
you have to declassify
Let me ask you a question. Why is it that Biden had 9 boxes in Chinatown? And he gets a lot of money from China. Why is that? And
Chinatown.
This is when you attack.
And why don't they put this guy Jack Smith and his group of thugs? Why don't they put him in charge of that?
I need to stop you right there because there's no evidence of what you just said there. What you're referring to there is an office that he had after leaving the vice presidency. He had a temporary office. But I want to ask you about another investigation that you're facing.
You don't know the subject.
I do know the subject.
He had one at University of Pennsylvania, but he also had 9.
I wish Trump would put more documents in his pocket and be like, actually, could be answered right here.
Where they are investigating your efforts to overturn the election results in the state of Georgia.
I did nothing wrong. It was a perfect phone call.
Let me finish my question. At the center of that is that call that you had with the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger.
Why do they keep talking about the election?
There are indictments expected to come in that case this summer. Is that a call again today?
Yeah, I called questioning the election. I thought it was a rigged election. I thought it had a lot of problems.
With anything.
I had everything.
Now
I guess he's Secretary of State. I called.
Now I see the plan.
Listen to this. There are like 7 lawyers in the call, many of them from there. We're having a call. We're having a normal call. Nobody said, oh, gee, he shouldn't have said that. Why? If this call was bad, I questioned the election.
You asked
if this
him to
call
find
was
you
bad,
votes.
I didn't ask him to find anything. Let me
We've
just
heard the
tell you,
audio
if
tape,
this
Mr.
call
President.
was
There's
bad,
an audio of you asking him to
I
find you
said,
11,000
you owe
something
me
votes.
votes because the election was rigged. That election was rigged. And if this call was bad, why didn't him and his lawyers hang up? How dare you say that? This was a perfect
Well, they were
phone
clearly
call.
concerned enough. They recorded the call, and I should note that, of
This
course,
was a call that was made to question the results of election. And we have. And when we can't make a call to question election results, then this country ought to just forget about it.
you weren't just questioning the election results.
I
You
was
were
questioning
asking
the
him
Democrats
to
did the
find you
same
votes.
thing.
And I should
Bush
note that
versus
there is
Gore.
no
He's such
evidence
a-
of
all
fraud
the
or
time.
Look it up.
the election in the state of
They had
Georgia.
riots and
The
everything.
audience, so, Mr. President, because those are false claims you're making about what happened in Georgia. Jordan Sullenberger is here. He's an undeclared voter from Hollis. He
This is actually
voted for
making
you
him
in
look
2020.
good a little
Jordan, what
bit
is your
now.
question for President Trump tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Thank you very much.
I'm 26. I'm a veteran. I help manage a private aviation company.
You want a job?
I'd love one. Yeah.
I'm looking for somebody very good.
I'm not for mandates or government interference in private business, but I've seen Republicans going after us like DeSantis after Disney.
Right.
What would you do as president to protect us from government interference?
Well, I'm the one that really wants to protect you. All of these fake investigations of me are about election interference. They think because I'm leading Biden by 11 points, 7 points, 9 points, I'm leading DeSanctimonious by a lot, by 40 points or 45 points. I think he ought to just relax and take it easy and think about the future. Because right now his future's not looking so good. I will tell you this. We are really putting it to Biden. But he's putting it to himself because the economy stinks, inflation is horrible, and the border is a disaster. And by the way he got out of Afghanistan was the single most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
Mr. President, I have one more question for you here tonight, and I think while we're in front of the voters here in New Hampshire, this is a fundamental question for you. You are running in the 2024 race. If you are the Republican nominee and you are in that 2024 race, will you commit tonight to accepting the results of the 2024 election?
Yeah, if I think it's an honest election, absolutely, I would.
Will you commit to accepting the results of the election regardless of the outcome?
You want me to answer it again? If I think it's an honest election,
She
I would
just
be
asked the
honored
same
to.
question twice.
And right now, we are so far ahead of both Democrat and Republican. And you know what? If I don't win, this country is going to be in big trouble. It's so sad to see what's happening.
But no commitment there on the accepting the results.
Nigga, he answered
If
it.
it's an honest election, correct, I will.
Okay, so not committing to accepting the 2024 election results.
My God, what are you doing?
Oh my God.
The fourth time she asked
This is an
him.
important conversation with voters to hear and to have. Thank you to our audience and to our host, St. Anselm College.
Slap that
CNN's
sticker.
coverage continues. Anderson Cooper and Jake Tapper.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much, Katie. Good job.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I
So-
liked that debate. That was 2016 Trump. But despite him letting her get him off track and like going down these dumb, unnecessary paths to conversation to get to an answer, and despite him not answering the abortion question, I actually like this.
And the border wall.
And the
too.
border, yes. I liked it. And he didn't answer whether he would still support aid to Ukraine. That was one thing he didn't answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just said, I don't want any more people to die. Is that what he said?
Yep.
I want no one dying. Like China dying.
So I was looking up who this Caitlin Collins, the moderator, is. It looks like she's had quite a few run-ins with him before because she used to be the chief White House correspondent. Yeah. I know.
Horrible.
Now I remember what's her name? Kayleigh McEnany. She used to always say stuff about Caitlin. Yeah. I remember this
they would
one
always
now.
go back and forth, especially during COVID. I used to watch the press conferences. They would always go back and forth all the time. And then there was one where they had a mask on, and then when the camera went off, that Caitlin girl took her mask off right when the camera went off. And I was like, see, guys, it's fake.
Yeah. Nobody asked him about the vaccine. What the hell? This was
I'm
rigged.
glad they asked him about that. I'm glad.
I'm not. Why are you glad?
Because
you know what he's going to say.
Yeah, he's gonna say my vaccines save lives. They save a lot of lives. I guarantee that would have lost a lot of Trump supporters. So I'm glad they didn't ask him.
Yeah,
it's an important question.
I would just say this here is now that I kind of got the entire context of what CNN was doing, now I see why he was doing what he was doing. Her whole goal was to divert, redirect, talk about a bunch of nothing for the lion's share of the time, and not give him a chance to prescribe any solutions. Now, when she did do that, I don't think he did a good job as he could have at unpacking solutions. Part of that is because on him, and the other one was because she kept interjecting to try to redirect all the time.
Right.
So I think this was good for him to go on from a political standpoint because the CNN voter, which is normally heavily Democrat, got to see this, and now they got to make a decision. You want to keep going with your mans and them, Joe Biden, or you want to look at Trump or Ron DeSantis? I ain't gonna decide on that, man.
Liddell, to bring up something too, you're right about him going on CNN because I was at City Hall yesterday. Mayor Steinberg in Sacramento, they have all these agendas, right? And it's mostly obviously liberal, left, right, and they got these little activist things like that. My friend went up there and basically told the truth. I can't say what he said. I want to get you guys banned. But he said some things, and you just watch the left just freak out because of what he said. He didn't curse, nothing like that. He just told the truth. The point I'm making in the correlation is that I think it's one of the reasons why Trump goes on CNN, because he knows that it's the opposition of him. So if he says something that they don't like, they're going to keep trying and trying to get that headline, try to break him. Like, so you're going to commit to if you lose, right? If you lose, right? You're going to have to keep asking the same question to get that headline.
George, I disagree with that statement. Do not be surprised if they plan people.
You really think, Liddell?
It's chess, not checkers.
I mean, why not though? Like, why not DeSantis? Because that would make the most sense.
Because we're in 2023
I
and
don't
there has
think so.
to be a female. DeSantis won't be his VP. It'll be a woman or it'll be a gay person. That's it.
Somebody gay, yeah.
Richard Cornell is VP.
Hey, there's already been rumblings about Richard Cornell. There's already been rumors.
the LG VP.
Yep.
Honestly, I mean, I agree with what Suni said more than DeSantis being, especially since recently now people are starting to wake up to DeSantis. But as far as this town hall goes, I agree. At the beginning, Trump was really great. 2016 Trump. And I understand that, her job was to deflect and, interrupt him constantly. And the CNN voter got to see it. But it wasn't my favorite Trump moment to be. And I love Trump, and I love Trump. I'm a supporter of Trump. And I'm like, I feel like he played it a little soft towards the end.
I can agree with that. It's just I'm trying to be as critical as I can on Trump, but at the exact same time understand the entire context. From a mannerism standpoint, I like this Trump. He was mild mannered. He wasn't bombastic, which is great. This could be a presidential type of a Trump. At the exact same time, he had to fight back, but at the exact same time, he needs to learn how to, as he's fighting back, prescribe a solution in his answer while he's fighting back, not just fight. His problem is he loves to fight. I'm like, great, bro, but damn.
And what he likes to do is he likes to revert back to what he did, right? Mm-hmm. I did this, I did that. And we get that. Those of us that understand him get that. But again, he needs to explain. Just because that was the solution in 2016, there's bigger problems now. Much bigger problems. It's gotten worse.
It has.
So I didn't like that he didn't.
Why? I think that's one of the reasons why he does revert back to what he used to do, because things are different. But I think to him, he's like, I did it once, I can do it again, and he's trying to convince people that I did this once. So if I'm back in, it can happen again. You'll just wait and see, kind of thing. But it's not a good answer to give, because it's like we want to know details. Like, what exactly would you do different now? Like, it's the same, but what would you do slightly different?
Yeah, I as I'm thinking through the entire thing, this is an environment to where you have to sneak in a solution, because the moderator is not a moderator. She's your opposition. And so she's trying to redirect and talk about a bunch of nothing. So you have to sneak in a lot of solutions so that and then repeat those solutions as you're fighting them. I think people are wanting the meat and potatoes, and I agree. This was an environment that was not going to happen. Unfortunately,
definitely not the environment.
But I'll give him probably a B-.
You know, I wish Tucker would do an interview with him. Now that he's moving to Twitter, I would love to see Tucker try to see if he can do the interview. I think Tucker would really ask the question, and even if Donald Trump skirted, Tucker wouldn't interrupt him. He'll let him finish and then just ask him the tough question afterwards. I think we need that interview. We got that interview. I think that would be. I'm sure lots of folks watch tonight, but that one would be the one that everybody watches if Tucker got that.
Yes.
Okay, it's not. He's not under Fox anymore, so he have a lot more control to ask the question that Trump needs to be asked.
I think
for everybody, for left, right, and moderates.
Shout out to Bryson, by the way. He shared our stream on Twitter. I think Trump
shout out Bryson
messed himself up. I'm gonna be honest. There's one thing where Trump really messed himself up with, and it was not answering the abortion question. Yeah. Abortion is murder. Period. Point blank. And if we all believe that murder is wrong, what's wrong with it being regulated at a federal level? If it's murder across the board.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I've always had a problem with. I started to notice that a lot more, even back in 2021 when we had the recall. You had these Republicans like Diego Martinez. Even when I watched the whole debate, they cannot. And shout out to Daniel Mercury too, but there were still some they weren't really answering the questions of abortion. It's like either you ban it or you don't. Right. If you had to skirt around it and say, well, maybe for like grape and incest, but it's like either you do or you don't, man. That's what it comes down to. You have to say, I'm going to ban abortion, but here's the solution for women who get raped. Let's reform Planned Parenthood and actually help out mothers to become mothers. Right. Something like that. We don't need this whole skirt around. I'm going to make deals, make negotiation, because when Trump was asking the moderator earlier, like, who said this? But then Trump's saying he's going to make deals. Who are you going to make deals with? Like, you're being just as vague as the moderator. Exactly. So I don't understand why the GOP has such a hard time with this topic. It's not hard to say yes or no.
It's because they're trying to appeal to the moderates. I mean, they are.
Yep.
They want that extra vote.
They do.
Unfortunately, they're going to appeal to the moderates. They're going to appeal to those people, and abortion will never be regulated at a federal level. That ban will never come. That's why I agree with Julius.
Wait till I become president.
We need a theocracy. He should have just said no. If he would have just come out and said, no, I'm not banning it on a federal level, I could respect that. Like, okay, you said you're not going to ban it. What else am I going to do about it? Okay, you're not going to ban it. But the skirting around the question, it's going to turn, especially people like me. And I do believe that there are millions of people like me. People like to rule us out as if we're some sort of extreme side of this, of the Republican side. But there's going to be a lot of people who aren't cool with that, bro. Like, it's murder. Treat it as murder. MoveOn.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this here, and then I have to go run and take care of some business. So thank you for allowing me to come on the live stream. We can do this again and have a part of a bigger panel and actually have some liberals on here as well. And let's actually discuss policy.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Policy. We can pick problems with the country and come up with solutions on those policies.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really good. Kind of lean in and reason together. I will say this here.
That'd be great.
President Trump doesn't know me at all. I know people that know him. I would say this here. If you're going to go on these platforms like CNN, NBC, ABC, pick a letter. What's going to happen is this here. Is you're going to have to learn how to fight with solutions. Fight back because we love the fight back, but fight with solutions, which you're going to have to do, if that makes some sense. You're going to have to do that, man. That's how you're going to win that moderate. That's how you're going to win that moderate is fight with solutions.
Right.
Because I know people are tired of getting kicked around. And I can tell you this, guys. I'm going to say this, and I want everybody to hear this. Today I was in a fairly big meeting with big fund managers that manage trillions of dollars. Be watching the banks in August. It may get turned upside down. Not the small fries, the big ones.
Yep.
It's coming. So
Default.
Again, vote on solutions. But guys, my wife is waiting on me, guys. I gotta go. Good to see you guys. Keep going, guys. Thanks so much, guys.
See y'all.
See you, man.
Peace. God bless, guys. Peace.
Yeah, I agree though. It all comes down to solutions. I think again, I'm going to always say this until I'm blue in the face. The GOP never has good solutions. Not all of them. I'm just saying they don't have good solutions. It's like they love to dance around the questions. One of my biggest problems I actually had with Kevin Kiley here in California. I like the guy, but sometimes he will skirt around the question. I get it. You want to appeal to everybody, but sometimes just being honest does appeal to everybody, and people don't even realize that. Like, you may not like the truth, but I guarantee you respect the person who's honest.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, but I really do think that if you just stick with the truth, it's going to hurt some voters, but you're honest enough to tell them, hey, this is what I want to do. You know, like for the wall, for example, I wish Trump would have said, well, listen, we got this much miles of wall built, but the reason why we want to build more wall because we want to stop those coming from illegally, we want people to come in legally, or whatever the case may be, but just kind of lay it out.
Right.
Even if it's in layman's terms of like we want legal, not illegal, because of this. Like, see, I wish Trump would just say reports. Like he could say something like, you know, during Barack Obama's presidency, you had 80% of women who were getting raped and human trafficking. Like, I wish he would just talk about these things. The same thing is happening now under the Biden administration. He would say, we want to build this wall because we want to prevent little girls from getting raped. We want stronger border security to protect the women and children. You want to appeal to emotions?
Yeah.
You got to start using the women and children. It's messed up, but it's like, I want to build this wall to protect women and children. I have a daughter. She has kids. I have grandkids. Do you know what I'm trying to say? If he said something like that, the females would be like, yeah, because I have a daughter. Do you see what I'm saying? That's how
it's
you
propaganda. There's nothing wrong with that. The right should participate in propaganda because we're doing it for a righteous cause. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's how you appeal to the 19th.
Exactly. Oh, gosh. I'm going to be giving more commentary, of course, on my Instagram because a lot of people weren't here, and this was kind of last minute. But overall,
what was your favorite moment, Suni?
I didn't have a favorite moment.
You didn't have a favorite moment?
It wasn't like there was a favorite moment.
I like when he came with the printout of all his tweets about January 6th. That was kind of funny.
It was. See, I would say it's funny, but it wasn't my favorite moment.
No, there
because
weren't
it's
many.
like we all know that. Like we already know that he did that.
We
like if he would have said
know,
something,
but CNN talking to liberals, we know. You know?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I know, but you know what though, Mo? Even still, when he prints that paper out, I guarantee the liberals are like, "Oh, he's gonna use his tweets." Like it's like, dang if he do, dang if he don't. He can't. Even if he had the information right there, the truth is always foreign. I was telling a friend this yesterday. The truth is like alien. You know, you watch those movies, it's like alien symbol, but it's a language. That's how it is to people. The truth is like so foreign. So Trump reading that, we know it's facts, but to the other side, they're like, "Oh, that's not important. People still hurt police." Like they're gonna go off of that. And what I didn't like was that he didn't mention Roseanne Boylan because she too died January 6th when she was hit over the head by a black female officer. She got kind of lightweight. Not want to say lightweight, but she got trampled on. But then the female officer took the stick and started beating her. I mean, Epoch Times had the footage.
Yeah.
So it's like he didn't talk about her. And that bothers me a lot because a lot of people are skipping over her. I didn't know about her until early 2022.
Well, everybody that they said died as a result of what happened at the Capitol turned out they didn't die. It was just like some weird situation that these people had a heart attack because they had pre-existing conditions, and they just correlated it to what was going on at the Capitol, but there was nothing there. Right. Exactly. Exactly. But you know,
I'm not trying to get you guys
I'm
banned.
going to go back and watch it and keep in mind who he's talking to. You see what I'm, because I watched it this time. Like I want what I want to hear from him. Right.
Yeah.
But now
on second watch. Yeah.
On the second watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It may be better thinking about it that way. So, yeah.
Yeah, because usually that does actually because it's like watching a movie. You watch it the first time, you just see all the action, and then the second time you go, "Wait a minute, there was an agent right there." Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's probably on second rewatch. You will probably catch who he is talking to, like when he's talking to his supporters, when he's talking to the moderates, and then the liberals maybe. So yeah, that's probably important. The breakdown is always going to be a lot more interesting. Oh, hey, what's up, Kitty?
My cat always comes. He loves to come on the show. Clearly. Come on, Chad.
That is funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, but again, it's like, but that's the problem is that the media, at least the left wing side, is not going to be that fair. Even after this, they're gonna harp on January 6th. They're going to harp on abortion. They're going to talk about the wall not being finished. Like they're not going to give them a fair shake after this town hall. It's just going to be regurgitation after regurgitation, and then when you get street interviewers talking about this, people just lose their minds. It's like truly insane how people lose their mind when you have these conversations. Like, just real quick on the side note, I was watching this video from Portland. Billboard Chris, he's very against children being sterilized for transitioning and things like that. They're trying to have a conversation with this girl who's a student on the campus in Portland. She's saying that she can't speak on certain things, even though she's taking the biology class. She still can't say there's only two genders because then she'll get the mob after her. So as they're talking to her, this guy is just constantly loud, circling them, trying to walk through. This girl walks through. Oh, excuse me. It's like these people are nuts. So I say all that to say that even after this town hall, CNN is not going to go, yeah, you know, Trump did talk about this, No, they're going to say, oh, January 6th, it was just a bunch of whites. It's like they're not going to be fair. And that sucks because people watch this stuff. They believe it.
Yeah. I wish we could see, because Birdman says CNN is already tearing him apart.
Of course. See? See what I mean? Never fails.
I don't know where to find, because I'm not seeing anything live on CNN's YouTube page.
Check the website.
On Rumble.
So if you go on Twitter, they had the link that they shared, and that's what they were talking about it at. So
let me see.
Yeah, if you go on Twitter, look up CNN. They have the link that they share. Let me see that they shared something recently. I had a link to it.
Oh, it's on Crowder's stream.
Well,
but then we got to hear.
But they have the link too.
Crowder.
So look. So this was their live coverage. I'm gonna see if they're still live right now talking about it.
Yeah, I can't get onto my.
Yeah. So look at
It's a long story.
Whoops.
It's a long story with my Twitter. Some chick that sells feet stole my Twitter.
Oh wow.
So-
Yeah, but they're live right now, and it looks like that one guy on the right is talking to Van. If you guys can see that, I don't know if you guys can see that. I forget his name. Like Brian something. I forget his name, but he's a very good speaker though. I'm sure he's gonna have some good points. He might share it on his Instagram. I wouldn't doubt it if he had it on his Instagram. So
I know. I
forget his name. It's like Brian something.
I just want to see it right now. Crowder, and they're on commercials, so I'm going to see what. Because the only thing with Crowder is he does talk too much.
He talks a lot. That's why it's hard to watch his lives. I tried watching one of his live streams.
Right.
He just kept talking. And I was like, I missed the question.
Well,
I'm like, stop. I get you trying to be funny, dude, but just stop talking.
It's called Louder with Crowder for a reason. Okay, let me just put it up here really quick and just see what we see.
Yeah, see Birdman said that's it. Yeah. Talking about the stream I was watching.
Wrong that Joe.
Oops.
Do you want to? I'm just trying to respond to everything that's been coming up on the table. Last thing, let me say this. We spent 22, 23 minutes talking about January 6th. We could have been talking about a whole lot of other issues instead of doing that for the first half hour or so. But let me be very clear. What was said in this town hall about National Guard troops that were authorized by Caitlin was wrong. I'm on the Oversight Committee. I was in 2 hearings on January 6th.
Can we give CNN props for at least having Republicans down there?
Yeah, let's see what he says.
National Guard troops on January 4. He followed up in a call with an acting Secretary of Defense on January 5, trying to see where the deployment was on those troops. That is testimony in the Oversight Committee. Everybody testified in Oversight Committee when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House, except one organization, and that was the Capitol Police.
Did you read the
because
Secretary
Nancy
of Defense's
Pelosi would
book?
not allow that. I'm telling you.
Notice he's the only one who brought in actual facts.
Correct. And look what he brought up. Did you read the book? When you can say anything, it's not under oath. He's like, I'm telling you what the committee had.
What is?
Yeah. Oh, I want to see what Mrs. Jard Big Bird
He
says.
testified to under oath. In the Oversight Committee.
Congressman, can I just
There
ask?
are the facts. Go ahead.
Preach it. You acknowledge Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, correct?
Again, we're going to continue to talk about
Irrelevant.
They're
going to try to
Snuffle up in his trunk snout, that bitch.
Let me tell you why most voters are frankly kind of tired of y'all bringing this up. Inflation, border.
You don't have the courage to express your opinion.
Why are you telling a black man he doesn't have the courage? Why are you telling? By the way,
Thank you, Stephen. I'm triggered. I'm so triggered.
Rumble. Why are you telling a black man he doesn't have courage? You East Village little sprite. You arrogant prick. You're sashaying across that panel right now, telling a black man that he doesn't have courage because he's the only one who has substantiating data. Wow, that seems to me to
I
be,
hate his
I don't know,
voice. All
a
I
little
think
bit
about is Arthur.
Racist? I have no idea. I don't actually think it's racist. I just think you're a prick. And the fact that you're gay just happens to be fodder. That's all.
State your opinion about factually what happened in the 2020
You
election.
guys want me to make
What did you say that's factual? Anyway, who cares? The beauty of it, why get mad? They have 130,000 viewers.
My is echoing.
We had more than them
Yes, at any given moment, and the live ticker's broken.
They do.
I understand why some people
moving
believe it.
forward into 2024, a couple
Can
of
you
things
hear
are
me?
very,
Can you hear
very
me?
clear. The nation is
Clear,
a mess.
just like your skin,
Our border
Anderson.
is overrun.
You gotta put your
Inflation is
earphones
crippling
in.
every family, Republican, Democrat, Independent. Those
That's
are
why
the
they're
things
speaking.
that
Do you
matter.
notice they're all piling on him?
Watch them. Watch
They're
this.
all piling.
But at least CNN has 3 Republicans on the
And I
panel.
understand that you don't
No, they
feel
have
that
one and 2
Okay, good
pensies.
now. Am I good now?
I
questions
hear
about
you
the
good,
last
but they might
election
hear
and the
feedback.
insurrection should be part of the discussion now. But since the
By
president
the way,
was
also
there,
notice they put up their lower thirds and not his.
Yep.
a rigged election, and he repeated it again tonight. Since he was the one who rallied the crowd that stormed the Capitol, that he celebrated tonight. I want to ask you this one thing, because I was interested when he was talking about his case
good now.
that was decided
Get to
yesterday.
the point,
by
Yeah,
the
I mean,
jury.
I'm going to hear
And he
you
said,
good
well, that was rigged. It was
because
a Clinton
we're connected on here, but the people that are listening to our stream might hear echoing. But you should be good now. I'm actually going to end this because I can't stand Crowder. I can't stand him. Like, I'm sorry.
trying to turn my volume down as help.
No, it's good. No, I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Yeah, the echo bothering me from down, so I didn't hear it, but it's not. I see it's echoing. Cat sounds echoing.
Yeah. Do you have something playing on your computer and you don't have it muted?
No, I shouldn't.
Because if you have,
I'll exit my Safari just in case.
oh, okay. Is it gone now?
Testing.
I hear you just fine.
Oh yeah, I'm fine now too. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to harper too much, but the problem I have is this: I can't stand the one thing I don't like. I'm all about. I'm like Liddell in a way. I like the context, but I'm all about the narrative. Like that's kind of like my angle this year. It's like let's get the narrative straight because when they say he rallied a crowd, like no, Trump didn't sit there and was like, "Go to the Capitol and just do what you want to do." Like, he didn't do that. He literally said, we're gonna walk to the Capitol. We're gonna be peaceful, make our voices heard. We all know that. And then when stuff hit the fan, he said, "Go home, be peaceful." We know that, but CNN didn't even show that on the day. I tweeted that out, but it wasn't even out there like that. So.
I mean, my thing is this. So what if he said, come to the Capitol and let's protest? So what if he said it? Because you have Maxine Waters, who happens to be James Brown's body double, out there talking about, we're going to go over there. We're going to stand, we're going to stand in front of them. We're going to get in their face, all this other stuff. And nobody says anything about that. So like, I'm sorry, but no.
I know. You did it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
It was once. It was that time back in 2016. It was another time back in 2020, right? It was actually 2020. Yeah. So it's the same thing. I know, but that's what I'm talking about though. I know that people know that the left does that, but they don't care because it's Trump. I'm not. Of course. I don't like to say this. I don't like saying this because he's white. They're gonna use that. He's white, privileged. He's telling his supporters to go to the Cap. It's like it just gets tiring. I'm tired of hearing that, and I'm tired of people believing that. Like, I've had conversations with people at the time that it happened, and just to hear them talk, it's just the rhetoric, and it's like I'm tired of it. The truth is, we have issues in this country that the left, the right, and the moderate wants to get done. You could be on any side, but they really want to just live their lives, have money, pay their rent, pay cheap gas, able to have a job that they can actually grow in and not just stay a cashier because you're only making so much. That's the real problem. You could be a Democrat, you could be Republican, you could be moderate, but people at the end of the day want to go home, kick back, put their feet up, and got like 10 G's in the bank.
Right.
That's what they want. So when we're not focused on those issues, then it's like that's why it ticks me off so much because the mainstream media wants to harp on, oh, he did this and he did. No, mother effer, you got money in your bank. How can other folk get what you have? Let's talk about that. Stop doing this narrative. It ticks me off. I don't like to get upset. I'm not a person that gets upset, but it's just like, geez, I live in a liberal area. There's pride flags everywhere. You know what I mean? You got these type of people who are watching this stuff in their home right now. And they're like, yeah, they're still programmed like, yeah, Trump bad. Forgetting about the fact that they're paying high costs and mortgages and rent and gas and things like that. They're forgetting the fact that they're not able to get many hours because businesses are shutting down like Burger King and McDonald's. They're forgetting about all this stuff.
Well, those people, but see those people that conveniently forget, and I'll just say this, and then I got to get going soon. But those people that conveniently seem to not care about this were living shitty existences before, right? So to them, they don't give a shit. Like they don't care about their lives. They're willing to abort their babies. They're willing to live in squalor. They're willing to, deal with looking a certain way because they don't give a damn about anything. So that's the people we're dealing with, right? That's why those people don't see a problem with anything because they live off the government anyways, right? So they're like, what do we care how high everything gets? We live off the government.
Yeah, I know. As long as they give us money and then we lose money from
we're paying
that.
for it. Anyways, well, thank you, everybody.
I appreciate you having me on. This was fun. I'd love to come back on. You guys got to come on our show on the Asian Man podcast.
I know. We got to do that. Did you guys have Suni on your show?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
We'll have to do that for sure. And then like Liddell said, we need to have another one of these like policy debates with people from the other side because I love having those things, but it's difficult.
So you ever bring Mitch on?
Hell no. I don't know. Listen, I don't know if you've ever tried to bring a liberal person on your show, but it is very difficult to find somebody who is not crazy. And I say that like in the most honest of ways. That isn't going to like rage quit when you like confront them with something or start yelling. Cause I think we've had like when Suni did the debate about homosexuality and the LGBTQ stuff, it turns into a shit show. Like that they don't know how to.
I'm not going to tell anybody, and real quick before you go, I'm not going to tell anybody how to phrase things, but there is a way to talk to. I've talked to people in my area who are on the other side, who are Democrats. Like, I've always learned that when they speak, respond with "I understand." It's kind of like that compassion, if you will. It's like, I understand, but did you know that this, that, and the third? Right now, if they lose it and they go, no, just like, oh no, I understand, but I appreciate you talking to me.
But you forget who my co-host is. I have Suni, and she's a savage. And yeah, I have no problem with the I understand. But the people in the chat will tell you, Suni don't give a damn. She ain't gonna use any of that soft language.
Yeah.
And so
I'm not saying softball. I'm just saying there's a way to finesse it. That's all I'm saying.
That girl ain't got no finesse. She's crazy. She's crazy.
People just can't handle that kind of finesse. You know what I mean? So God bless her. All you guys in the chat.
Bye, guys.
See you guys. No, thank you for having me on your show.
Thank
God
you.
bless. And
all right. See you.